let's see. It says we're live. Hi. Let me double check my actual Facebook and see if this is working. Okay. It says Beth is live now. Okay, great. So, everybody, if you're watching, please drop a comment. Let me know if this is actually working. I'm using a new software that I haven't used before. But I'm here with one of my clients, Antonia, who was in the True Path Entrepreneur Mastermind group in 2020, which is, she's actually still in the group, but she's been in there since, I think, February of 2020. And I wanted to bring her on here to talk about her experience of starting a business from scratch and getting clients and doing work that you love. So, Antonia, please tell people a little bit about what it is that you do and what your work is.
So I'm trained and certified as a transformational coach and facilitator. And working with you, Beth, I really realized what I love to work with are women, but men also who are struggling in their life. They're totally overwhelmed. They're parents and working at the same time, most of them, and just helping them to see where the obstacles are, and then find the gap, like where's the linchpin, and then kind of work from there and find new ways how they show up and see what they believe about themselves, and then really step into a new story and live a rich and joy-filled life. Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, when we met, because we had met previously casually through some common friends, but you were already running women's circles and hosting some events, right? Tell a little bit about what you were doing. And then I know you did this feminine empowerment program with Claire Zammit. Yes. Yeah, what was going on before you did the True Path Entrepreneur program?
Yeah, well, I can say that I did start out with this feminine power. That's what it's called. And the founder is Claire Zammit. And, I did the self-work first myself, and then I realized that I need to continue with these trainings that she offered as a coach and facilitator, because otherwise I would just close the book after 9 months and that's it. So that's how I stepped into the training, not really knowing what I'm doing, but I just knew I loved the work. I was very passionate about it because it helped me to kind of overcome beliefs, very limiting beliefs that I've been carrying with me all through my life, actually. So yeah, this gets emotional.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But then what with these work, I was really fascinated with the facilitation part, like holding workshops. And I know I'm a gatherer. I always like to have people in the house, like even cook for them, or we all, bring something potluck style, and people always love to be around me. And then when I started out with these workshops that we had to do, to become certified, the feedback I got was really amazing, that women just loved what I did and how I did it, with my natural way of doing things. And so it was such a beautiful feedback. So that's why I concentrated more on the facilitation. But then in a way, I realized it's good, but then I didn't get coaching clients out of it. So that was a missing piece. And that's when I decided 2020 is my year of coaching to become the world best coach. And I knew I need support. Yeah. I couldn't do it by myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful because I love the work that Claire is teaching, where, gathering women and facilitation. And, this is a big part of what we're all stepping into is really, how to come into your feminine power. And it's amazing that you invested this money into training. So it's interesting. I get a lot of clients who've spent all this, $10,000 here or $8,000 here or $20,000 on trainings and facilitation training and breathwork training and coaching training and, psychedelic integration coaching training. And then they come to me and they're like, okay, I've been, hosting events or gathering groups together or, monthly circles, but I'm not getting the clients. So when I met you, I think that's what was going on, right? Like you had said, you weren't getting clients. So when I talked to you, I remember saying, wow, there's a woman in my program who's just like you, and she's getting this momentum. And, I remember when we talked about joining the program, of course, there was a lot of fears and doubts and who am I to do this? Or can I even do this? What are some of the thoughts that you were having before you joined the program? like these limiting beliefs? Because you've changed so much, so much.
Yeah.
I mean, even other people have noticed, like, wow, she's just different, even on Facebook, right? Yeah, but what are some of the things that were going on before you decided to invest in getting clients and becoming a coach, like growing your business to then get clients?
I think one of the pieces was that I didn't really have a voice. I just, and I'm not saying that I didn't get training in kind of how to get my business done, but you have to do it. And I didn't do it. Like that's the thing. That's where I just didn't want to. It's like this obstacle. I'm like, I don't want to go through this. It's fine. I know what I'm doing, but I didn't. So it's really, doing these calls and connect with potential clients or friends and just ask questions and hear what they say and learn how to use their language, which is in a way it's my language too, so it's because what they feel, I feel, but really get that part. And that was something which I never really did. And it was, in the training, it was overwhelming. And then I just didn't do it. I just kept with the workshops. But even there, I felt something is missing. I'm not getting traction. And
Yeah, it's a very common thing. I even spoke to someone today who said the same thing, like I've been hosting this and bringing women together, but I'm only making $5,000 a year. And that's where, you start to question, well, it's great to invest money into training, but then what? Like what's the point of doing all this deep level work that you've been doing on yourself and then getting the training in to become a coach, become a facilitator? And then what's next? Yeah, the next step is learning how to actually get the clients. So let me ask, like, what was your, what do you think, like you just mentioned that you didn't have the voice. And let me ask, because I know I've noticed it and I know a lot of everybody else in the programs noticed it, but what were your biggest doubts or limiting beliefs around even building this as a business? Like your first few months in my program, were you up against, fears and...
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I just thought I'm not good enough, like I'm not a good coach. I don't know what I'm doing. And who am I to offer this program and charge money, like a substantial amount of money? Because that's the reason why I joined you, because I just wanted to get paid for the transformation that I offer. It's like this exchange. But there's the belief that I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. And I don't know how. And it's just there's a lot of restriction kind of. I don't want to do this. It's a pain. It's painful. That's what it is. So it's like, but then once you start and once I was in it, I just thought, okay, what the heck? I just do it. And
And it's interesting because one of the many things I teach in my program is how to do, let's say, an online workshop. So you started doing some workshops and you've been really great about it, like showing up, doing a ceremony at the solstice and doing workshops for women or within your local community. You've been really active within your just your own networking groups. How did it feel when you started? Especially, you joined the program right before the pandemic started, and then all of a sudden we're all thrown into this different world. How did it feel when you were showing up doing these workshops and people were, learning and having, like their minds blown or, like how did it feel afterwards? I'm sure it was scary before, but how was it during that process?
It was maybe what was the difference for me with offering these workshops, because I've done them before, but this time I really consciously, I always like to help women and support them. But I kind of knew, like I had this call to action in the end that I really consciously asked, so this is what I'm doing and I'm offering you this free breakthrough session. And that's what I've never done before. So it was kind of, I gave more of myself as well. That's what it felt.
And how did it feel, afterwards? Did it feel, like better, or was it scary at first? Did it feel good to finally know how to make these workshops turn into potential clients?
Yeah, so much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first one I had in January before I started with you, and I had offered a workshop, and I thought I was prepared, but then I wasn't, because it was just kind of, yeah, women took it in, but then I didn't get any contact details, nothing, like nobody. It was, yeah, like that's where I felt bad, but now it's so much different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very different.
I always say it's like there's many amazing people out there doing workshops, but then they don't know actually how to do the workshop so that it provides them actual clients from it.
Yes.
So that's something I teach is very, I say it's like an art form, the nuances you need to have to make your workshop successful, not just, a $200 workshop. It's not that. It's about getting, long-term clients and building your own community and building your business. So another thing, you started getting clients. Let me ask, how was it to work with your first paying client or, your first high-end, longer-term paying client?
That was great. I'm actually almost finishing up with him now. So, so that's, yeah. Well, it was exciting for me because it was even a male person. That was where like, wow, that's different. Okay. And then just knowing that I can be with him for like 6 months for such a long time, and really watching this person growing and transforming and really noticing about, himself, things are changing, and so that's amazing.
And do you have more confidence in your own abilities to then now help people now that you've worked with a bunch of people? And
yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. How did that happen? Like, what have you noticed the shift? Where did it come through? Did it come through actually like just putting yourself out there and getting uncomfortable, or did it come through, once you got a first client, then you got a second client, then you got the third? Like, where's the shift where you're like, oh, this is real, I'm doing it?
I think the shift, first of all, going through the program with the client for such a long time. And then also the other shift I experienced was because of the pandemic. I've had a lot of time and study and really dig deep into the work that I was trained in. And then even I created my own workbook that I'm giving out now as a gift. But because I understood the whole process, that's why I could do the workbook or the other way around. I don't know, but it's just kind of, it all went together. So it's, I really know what I'm doing.
Yes, and we'll put the workbook, we'll put the link to your freebie here in this Facebook Live video so anybody can grab it. But that was actually going to be my next question. Is so I know you have kids at home with you, or at least part of the time, right? I don't know if they're in school or not, but everybody was kind of, thrown into this whole new way of living since the pandemic. And then additionally, you're like me, where you actually have way more land than me. You have this big, piece of land, and you are doing a lot else in your life. So it's not just your business and it's not just your kids, but it's everything, and you have a family. How did you find that this program worked into your life? Meaning, like, did you feel like you couldn't do it all, or somehow you managed it all?
I think I managed it all. Yeah. For me, it was just good to know I had these set phone calls with you, and then just, when we had the work to do, like the hard research, that was like, I think that was one of the biggest chunks. But I'm determined, like when that's the thing, when I invest in myself, I want to get something out of it. So that's how I worked with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So I was going to ask, what did you think about the support of the structure of the Mastermind program with the calls and the community? And then, did that help, especially when, having kids at home and kids in school and growing a business? Like, what did you think of that versus maybe trying to do it by yourself or learning off of videos or something?
It's just, that's what's needed to have contact, like to have these regular calls where everybody would share what their wins, but also what they were struggling with. And because that's how you learn, even with coaching, listening to others, what they go through and how they get coached. That's how you learn. Like, oh, okay, I can pick that up too, or then when you share yourself and you really make things conscious, it's just, that's what's needed. And then also the Facebook group that you had, And I know now I could have used it even more. And that's where I would like to compliment you, because you were always on it. You would always give us, support. That was just amazing. Even like when I had posts on Facebook and you would put comments there, that was just, it's really nice. Appreciate it.
I have to say, so it's really interesting. Sometimes, so my clients know that I sometimes do this where I will see what they post on social media and then I'll actually give them private feedback within our group. And I'll say something like, hey, add this to your post, or make sure that your event has this. And it's so funny because my coach did that to me today for the first time ever. I've actually never had a coach do that to me. But today, my coach, who might even be watching this live, he said, hey, Beth, what's missing in this post? And I was like, oh my, and I knew this, but it's funny because I know I go above and beyond because I want my clients to learn, as they're writing a post or as they're doing an event, or as, Antonia has done a lot of really amazing workshops. And I'm like, great, here's how to make the workshop even more successful. Because while workshops are nice, they're not truly effective unless you learn the art form of turning your workshops into paying clients. So thank you for that. Thank you for recognizing that. But, do you think, I'm curious because there's a lot of people who I talk to who say, well, I'm just going to buy this online course and watch some videos and try to grow my business. Do you think, what you've learned in the past 11 months that you've been working with me, do you think it's something you could have learned on your own through videos?
No. Maybe parts of it, but not all. That's you need it to be alive somehow. Talk and exchange. So that's
Yeah.
So that's the support that you need. That's the thing. Yeah. That you can do it by yourself.
Yeah. And that's just, I personally am like, I don't know how anybody learns completely off an online course. I think it's impossible, especially when it's something as deep as starting your coaching business and getting your first handful of clients. So for you, what do you think your biggest shift was? Because I think I know what it is just from my perspective, but if you imagine where you were back in January of 2020, where do you think you've grown the most? Obviously you've gotten clients, you've built a business, but what big step into the uncomfort zone do you think was your biggest one?
That has to do with that I found my voice and then really stepping out there and share it. And sometimes like that's the feedback I get from my friends, that even my emails from the subscription list that I have, they've gotten so much better. Like even, it's just changing. Like I'm really even more authentic than I was before, and real to people and vulnerable, and then just putting it out there. And I'm not a native speaker, so I'm German. And, before I would always ask a friend, can you go through this and make sure it's all correct? And now I'm like, whatever. That's my touch. Yeah, that's me. So yeah.
That's a big one. That's something really big that I teach too, is, everybody, people want to see the real you. It's not about being perfect all the time. I'm like sitting in my boyfriend's bedroom right now. It's not ideal for shooting a video, but that's the reality of life. I had to go get an emergency COVID test today, so that's the reality. And this is a big part of what I teach in this program, is about you really stepping into that place that, of course, it always feels really uncomfortable and scary at first to express your voice and express yourself. And, I think, I don't remember if you had an email list before. I think it was maybe small, and now it's, a different kind of email list. Like now it's grown and now you're communicating on a different level, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But it is about being you and having, and then also learning the art form of how to communicate to your potential clients so that they actually want what it is that you offer. So I'm curious, I know you've had a couple of these, like what I call like the weird magical things happen, where you've had people reach out to you out of the blue, or someone you didn't know who was following you, or someone from 3 years ago. So tell a story, because I know you had one recently that I was like, yes, this is how it works. You guys, I constantly am saying to my clients, sometimes your clients might not be ready to work with you today, but they might come back to you 3 years later or 3 months later or whatever it is. And Antonia actually had this happen. So tell the story of how this recent, outreach happened.
The recent one, okay.
Yeah.
I had, I don't know. It's a woman I met 2 years ago and tried to invite her to my workshops that I did at that time, and she never, whatever. We met, and I knew she liked what I'm doing, but she never reached out to me again, and I could not get hold of her. So then and then 2 years later, there she was. I had a little quick post on Facebook, like I'm supporting women who are overwhelmed and help them to get back into their groove, and that's when I got her kind of, and she reached out to me, and we did have a breakthrough session. Yeah. A really powerful one.
Amazing.
And then she told me that she knows me, that we know each other. And then I remembered, oh, okay, yeah. So, and she said that she's been stalking me, kind of, or like always following what I'm right. And yeah, she's not on my email list, but she followed me on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. And you didn't know that she was watching and stalking, and amazing. And then what is your, in the last, 11 months, what do you feel like was your most exciting moment during the program? Like that one moment where you're like, wow, this is really happening, or I can't believe that was so easy, or, I know there's one instance where you said you got a client and then you got another client and you're like, wow, that was actually really easy. Maybe I should have actually raised my price or something. So yeah, but what do you think that moment of like excitement of like, wow, this is a real business now? Like, when was that?
Well, it was actually with my first 6 months client. I jumped through the house and everybody was looking at me. So what's going on? But I'm like, yes, I got it. So that was a celebration. Yeah. Just in itself to have a 6 months coaching client. So that's a big thing. And I have 4 of them now. So yeah.
Awesome. And and you're always doing these amazing workshops and getting people together. And, one thing I really love about you and your business is you've really tapped into your local community and your own, like this German women's network and women's groups. And just even that, like even in the days of the pandemic where we're not quite allowed to gather in person, but you've still figured out these amazing ways. Like I think you actually hosted some outdoor in-person events, right? And
yes. Yeah. And I have another one planned end of April.
Ooh, great.
And maybe that's what I can share too, like especially with that group, this newcomers club. I did feel that with working with you or being in this mastermind, all of a sudden they got who I am. They were like, oh, that's what you do. Oh, okay. Because I would never really talk about it, what I'm doing. I was always like shy and not sharing who I am. Yeah.
Amazing. And then what would you say to, because I personally know a lot of people who are considering joining this mastermind, or even people who are thinking of starting their coaching business, or people like you who've gone through training and then they're like telling themselves all the stories as to why they're not ready or why they should wait, or, I don't have money. What would you say to someone who's doubting investing into learning the steps to grow their business, or people that are scared? Like, what is the one piece of advice that you would say that would really make them say like, wow, you're right?
I can speak from my own point of view. When I decided to go with your mastermind program, was that I was just at a point where I'm like, okay, if I don't do anything, I will never get anywhere. So like the pain was so hard, was so big that I just knew I need to invest it, even though it was scary. And it's scary. That's what I told friends who I talked to about your program. It is a scary investment, but then once you invest yourself and be committed, it's worth it. Yeah. Every single bit that you learn about yourself, and even just learning about myself and how I can show up differently. That was such a big gain. Yeah.
To me, that's been your biggest, because I remember, I think, I don't remember when it was, but before you joined the program, I remember there was just like mindset, like you had a lot of doubts, which by the way is totally normal. Like everybody that joins my
Mhm.
program comes to me, with a lot of the doubts and a lot of the fears. But now, I haven't even seen those come up in so long. Like there's very little, like even your language has changed, in the what you say and what you share. And it's just so much more empowered.
Yeah.
Do you think that's come through the process of like doing, like being, like I always say, it's like the embodiment of your business, an embodiment of actually starting to put yourself out there. Do you think that's how it happened, or do you think it changed from just like thinking about it?
No, it happened by doing it and showing up. That's the transformation that happened. Yeah. So by
Yeah.
diving into and doing it and knowing my self-worth now. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, that's like
That
the real.
I deserve it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. This is what Claire Zammit teaches, right? It's like the real feminine empowerment, right? Right here.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Oh
if
yeah.
if you could give someone like one piece of advice who's thinking of growing their business or wants to start making money with their coaching, what would you just tell them?
Really do what you taught us in the beginning, your why. Why are you doing this? And really do the hard research. Like really find out what people need,
Mm,
what's their biggest pains and desires that they have,
mm.
and see how do you fit in there, like finding your niche somehow, like really honing into that. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Antonia, this is so good to talk
Thank
to
you.
you. I could ask 10,000 more questions, of course, but I don't want to keep you on too long. I know you have a free gift. We're going to put the link in the comments below in this video. Do you just want to share with people a little bit more about what it is all about and what is it and why it will help them?
So this free gift, it's pretty much, it's like a workbook. That's how I've done it, and it takes you through the steps, like the 4 big steps that I do in my work as a transformational coach. And it starts with connecting with your yearnings and desires that you have, because that's already a big question where people are like, I don't know. Like
Mm,
that's how I was years ago. I did not know what I really yearned for. And that's how you
mm.
start. And then you kind of look at stories and beliefs. Why am I not getting there? And then, so it's a little workbook that you can use for yourself. And it really
Mm.
gives you an idea of the work that I do. Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, we'll drop it. Actually, I know I have the link somewhere, but I know you have the link. So we'll just
Yeah.
drop it in the comments of this Facebook post. And if anyone's interested, you can just direct message Antonia, ask her about her coaching, ask her about the mastermind. You can ask me about the mastermind. But yes, enrollment is open now. There's been about 20 new people who've joined. They're amazing. It's a great group. Of course, Antonia, and there's still another cohort still in there for another month or so. But yes, thank you so much for your time. This really means a lot to me. And thank you for sharing your story. And not only that, but thank you for really having a stand for what I believe is like the future of our planet, meaning this work you're doing is so necessary right now more than ever, especially with everything that everybody's going through. The world's changed, people are at home, life is just different. And now is the time to really tap into what is the life you want? What do you want to create? And what is the world that, you want to see? What is the life that you want? So thank you for doing this work. It is so necessary.
Thank
I
you.
love you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And
Thank
anybody reach out and ask us any questions, you can just type in the comments and we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you.